Failure to launch. Why do I think of a boat instead of a rocket when I hear that term? This notion of men's failure to launch has been discussed numerous times. The best example I'd say is Paul Proteus's video, linked below. But whenever I hear failure to launch, it makes me laugh because it's not a failure to launch as though men are really trying at something and failing. It's a blatant refusal to launch, not a failure. And the system convinces itself of its own rhetoric in believing that men are failing at something, and they just keep trying over and over again until they get it right. No, men are refusing. It makes you wonder how low the marriage and birth rate will get in the West with Western males before they'll actually start asking why they're not. What's wrong? Why isn't the juice worth the squeeze? But look, like all system brainwashing, they just keep implying shame. Now, I've said it before in videos, I have nothing against you if that's what you want to do. That's your bag. Get married, have kids. It's up to you. It's quite natural. Now, I think a lot can be taken from Paul's video describing the metaphor of men not wanting to build the rocket to launch, knowing that they're not wanted nor needed at the destination of that launch. So why would they bother? I think this is the important thing that people fail to recognize in wanting even a discussion with why guys are opting out. On the whole, for society, I don't think it's healthy for men to just opt out. But as an individual, I can see exactly why they do. And here's the condescending nature of the whole thing. You need to convince the individual that it's worth their while to launch. If you're just telling men, do it, do it, do it, and men are saying, hold on, what do I get out of it? To a man with half a brain, it sounds like he's arguing with the hungry child who wants a cookie. The majority who have found some sort of intellectual solace and calm within the things we talk about within our circles just want some sort of reciprocity. For those men who are more reproductively inclined and traditionally motivated in our circles, they just want a bit of cooperation if men were to go back. And look, I've mentioned as for me, I have no interest in the family-kid structure. But objectively, I can fully understand mankind wanting to procreate and the desire and drive to have that family. I just had a recent guy mail me and he said, what can I do? I know all this stuff. I've been red-pilled, but I desperately want a family and children. And what can I tell such a man? Not that I'm in the habit of giving anyone advice. All I'm doing is describing things. I'm talking to myself in these videos. Maybe one of you as an individual will glean something that will speak to you and make you make up your own decisions. But I'm not telling anyone what to do. Don't follow me at all. Follow your own instinct and follow what you deem to be right. But what am I supposed to tell this man? Yeah, fuck it, go for it. You know, it's 100 to 1 odds. What do I tell the man who desperately wants to have children and a family and a wife, where that's his meaning and purpose that he sees in his life? What do I tell such a person? It's easy for me to talk to somebody like myself in these videos, but I feel I have very little to offer a guy who's motivated traditionally like that. It's easy for me to see the bear trap and avoid it because I never wanted to step in that direction anyway. But what of the man that wants to step in that direction and finds a bear trap in his way? Most guys, and me in the past, have described the horror of the one-sidedness in the divorce and law courts, where a woman is effectively handed a gun to when she leaves a man later, she effectively turns the gun on him and pulls the trigger. Whereas this failure to launch scenario, or as I like to call it, refusal to launch, really resides in the man not wanting to launch from that pier in a boat with a woman out to sea in their own journey, trusting that she won't let him down. And he can't swim. He can't swim. She has a life jacket, but most importantly, she doesn't get handed a gun. She gets a distress beacon handed to her. So in the event when they're out at sea and she doesn't like it anymore, she presses the distress beacon or calls in on her radio or whatever that she's handed by the government, and she's airlifted out of there, leaving the man behind. She kicks him in the nuts before she leaves. And as she's airlifted out of there, she takes all her belongings, all her food and rations, takes half of his, punches a few holes in the boat, takes his oars, takes his compass, while she leaves him stranded there. And he's left fearful for his life. That's the difference. The difference that people need to understand is that when a man and woman launch from that dock out to sea on their own private adventure on their own small boat, he leaves with no plan B. He's putting everything in that boat and trusting her that she's going to be with him. He leaves with no plan B. He goes all in, puts all his eggs into her basket, and just hopes, if he loves her enough, that she won't press that distress beacon and just leave one day because she's unhappy, leaving him with a good chance of dying out there. So it's not so much that guys fear her pulling the trigger. I think it's guys fear her leaving and the effect of what that leaving does to a man. And in case you missed it, the metaphor of her leaving with all her rations, half yours, taking the oars, is the equivalent of leaving with the house, half your assets, and taking your kids, which a father actually lives for. That's the equivalence of why he feels almost dead, destroyed and betrayed, floating lifeless out at sea. And often thinking, why don't I just let the boat sink with its holes, and why don't I just drown? And unfortunately, a lot of men just allow themselves to. So I hope this metaphor of men's refusal to launch, not failure to launch, helps other men, maybe not within our circles, understand why guys are so resistant, if not downright afraid, to launch with any woman these days. Because after they launch, she's got a plan B. She's got hope that it works out, but if it doesn't, no big deal. She'll get back to land quickly. With a man, with what's taken away from him at that moment, no, that's what he fears. He doesn't fear the trigger being pulled from the gun. He fears her leaving and abandoning him, lost at sea. Anyway, I hope that was useful, gentlemen. Later. If you appreciate my content and want to say thanks, feel free to donate via the links below. To recent donators on screen now, and to my long-term donators who have supported me consistently, you guys are the best. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It keeps me publishing videos for you, and let me know if you don't want your name shown on screen. And finally, share, link, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified of my next video. If you're still not being notified of my videos, I have some steps in the low bar. Thanks.